before I get started, I'm going to go from another angle. The 13th Amendment was ratified in 1865, abolished slavery and involuntary servitude in the United States, with the exception of punishment for a crime. So we're talking about mass incarceration. We're talking about perpetual slavery.
Yes.
And people will say, well, that's a little strong, you know, but it's okay, because I'm not here to satisfy or make people feel comfortable.
That's right.
With uncomfortable lies.
Just like a bird, I just wanna fly free. And I own a piece of land somewhere off in a country. Oh yeah, listen. Temperatures like 100 degrees, like I got chains on me. Blackmail in the family of three, been right on my destiny. Reckon I'll fly away, cause it's too much for the man. Shouldn't have gone down this way. What happened to my master plan? Cause I can't figure out, I could have been a love child. Shouldn't have gone down this way. Tell me, how did I get lost? Oh, yeah. Talk to me. Oh, how did I get lost? Tell me, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, somebody done me wrong. I stood the ceiling all night long. Time is slipping away from me. It ain't no telling when I get home. Gotta get home.
Buffalo, Syracuse, Rochester, Albany, Westchester, and Long Island, and Ithaca. Hundreds of us are demanding with one voice that the passage of three common sense sentencing reform bills: the Second Look Act, the Earn Time Act, and the Marvin Mayfield Act. This is our moment. After decades of unjust and racist sentencing laws, we are closer than ever to a meaningful change. Together, we are charting a path that reunifies families, restores communities, and creates justice and safety for all New Yorkers. Mass incarceration is ineffective and costly. It costs nearly $70,000 per year to incarcerate a person in New York State, with an annual price tag of $3 billion. As New York faces federal budget cuts, sentencing reforms is the right policy for communities and for our state budget. A little dry.
Doing great.
Last month, the verdict came down in the trial of three of the prison guards who beat Robert Brooks to death at Marcy Correctional Facility. But real accountability must transform the conditions that made Robert's killing possible. Yeah. The crisis inside continues. Just last week, an imam at Marcy Correctional Facility died by suicide in the superintendent's office. This is a system and crisis that harms everyone. In New York, voters have spoken. They have said enough with the status quo. They have called to change. Now is the time for New York. Now is the time that New York must commit to ending systems of brutality, to create fair pathways home for incarcerated peoples who have transformed on inside. True safety comes from strong communities, not senseless incarceration.
Say that again.
Support for those reforms is broad and undeniable. We have the support of New York's Chief Justice and Chief Administrative Judge, law enforcement, including the former commissioner of docks, the American Bar Association, dozens of law unions, businesses, and over 250 civil rights and legal community organizations. Thousands of New Yorkers have taken the Capitol and streets since the launch of this campaign across New York. People have spoken. 74% of New Yorkers support the Earn Time Act, and 68% support the Second Look Act. New Yorkers are saying yes to communities, not cages. And no more to the outdated and inhumane laws that warehouse our loved ones without opportunities for change. 3 out of 4 incarcerated New Yorkers are black or brown. New York's sentencing laws have decimated our communities for generations. For safety, for justice, for families, for our communities. We fight for the Second Look Act, the Earn Time Act, and the Marvin Mayfield Act. The Second Look Act, so judges can finally review and reconsider excessive sentencing. The Earn Time Act, so our system is not about warehousing people for as long as possible, but about transformation, accountability, and restoring people to their families and communities. The Marvin Mayfield Act, so that prosecutors don't hold all the cards and judges can consider individuals' factors in a case.
Other side.
Yeah, right here. Yeah, that's it. I did it. That was the first page.
I love you.
I love you.
My bad.
Today, thank you. Thank you for bearing with me, guys. Today we are going to hear from legislators, advocates, community leaders, and most importantly, we're going to hear from formerly incarcerated people and families who are leading this fight. True safety means transformation, second chances, healing, and not endless punishment. New York must act now.
Woo! Good afternoon. How we doing? We ready?
Yes.
All right. My name is Melanie Bishop, and I'm a member of the Center for Community Alternatives. I'm here today because our current prison system is failing our communities and failing countless families like mine across New York State. Over the last year, we watched our prison system crumble from the inside out. We watched the video footage of the murder of Robert Brooks and followed the ongoing court proceedings that continue to expose the failures within the system. During the unlawful work stoppage, we also learned of the murder of Messiah Nantwi, a 20-year-old incarcerated individual across the street from where Robert Brooks was killed. Meanwhile, we continue to hear of the regular abuse of countless others whose names the public will never hear. While many correctional officers abandoned their post and participated in a work stoppage, actions that created increasingly dangerous conditions, shut down rehabilitative programming, and severely limited family visitation, we are grateful for the officers who chose to remain at their posts, upholding their duty and helping to prevent an already dire situation from becoming even worse. Many in our communities might say this doesn't affect me. I don't have an incarcerated loved one. Some even say, well, then don't go to prison. And yet, these same people express deep concern about safety for their families, their neighborhoods, and their future. I want to share a brief version of my son's backstory because it shows exactly why access to programs and services is so important. Zach grew up in a home affected by untreated mental health and addiction, issues stemming from his father's service as a disabled veteran. Living in rural Western New York, he faced years of barriers to mental health care, long drives, long wait lists, and services that simply didn't exist where we lived. Even when I requested anger management classes for him as a young teenager, I was told those programs were only available for youth already involved in the court system. Access was denied. Zach's mental health deteriorated and he was hospitalized at the age of 11. He struggled with anxiety, panic disorders, and eventually self-medicated with drugs and alcohol. When he finally wanted treatment, we were again told no spots were available. Access denied. At age 20, after hitting rock bottom, my son was arrested for 2 robberies while under the influence. For the first time in years, he was sober and he wanted help. But after entering the prison system, he was repeatedly turned away from substance abuse treatment and other programs because he had too much time left on his sentence. For years, every request for treatment was met with the same answer: access denied. My son's story is not unique. Across New York, incarcerated people who want rehabilitation, who need it, are shut out of programs because of arbitrary timelines, staff shortages, and a system that does not prioritize treatment. Since the correctional officers' strike, this crisis has only deepened. Many programs have been shut down entirely or run inconsistently, leaving people stuck, untreated, and unable to earn the credits required for release. Facilities are short-staffed. People are locked in, and the entire system is straining at every seam. This is exactly why we need reforms like the Earned Time Act, and it's essential. Rehabilitation must begin at day one, and people must have real access to programs that can change their lives and make our communities safer. This is why we urgently need the immediate passage of the Communities Not Cages legislative package, especially the Earned Time Act. The Earned Time Act would require New York State docks to reopen and expand programming that we know reduces recidivism, changes lives, and actually strengthens public safety. The vast majority of incarcerated people are coming home someday. The question is, how do we want them to return? This bill would create real incentives for rehabilitation from the very first day someone enters the prison. It's not a just get out of jail free card. It is an opportunity, a chance for people to earn their way home sooner through meaningful work, education, treatment, and transformation. It is a pathway for safer communities and renewed hope for thousands of families across New York State. This bill would transform the culture of our prison system. It would ensure that rehabilitation begins the moment someone enters custody. It would incentivize docks to run programs consistently, restore hope, and allow people to earn their way home sooner. It would also relieve pressures on staff, reduce violence, and reconnect families. The Earned Time Act is public safety. It encourages education and treatment. It establishes fair, consistent guidelines for earning and keeping good time. It aligns New York with other states that have successfully implemented earned time policies and have seen reduction in violence and recidivism. This bill is not soft on crime, it's smart on public safety. New York cannot continue down the path we're on. We cannot keep people locked in cells without treatment, without programs, and without hope, and expect safer communities in return. The Earned Time Act offers a real solution. It offers accountability, rehabilitation, and a safer New York for all of us. And as a mom, I demand our lawmakers pass it this year. No excuses.
Hello, I'm Michelle White. My husband Tracy, right here, was incarcerated from 2014 to 2025. And although my husband is home, we continue to fight to advocate for the reunification of other New York State families. I'm here today to talk about the Earned Time Act. What do we mean by earned? We mean to gain deservedly, in return for one's behavior or achievements. Incarcerated or not, people want to be compensated for their time and receive credit for their hard work in school and at their job. We all work hard in order to be promoted, earn an award or a bonus. Incarcerated family members feel the same way. Part of what fuels motivation is getting that reward for a job well done. Would you pursue your GED, a trade, high school diploma, or a college degree if you were told that you might receive your diploma upon completion? Would you work for pennies a day, no benefits, and the possibility of a paycheck? I don't think so. Well, that's what the incarcerated are doing every single day. And like free people, the incarcerated, they need something to work towards. The question remains, how can they earn their freedom? Currently, earning time off of a prison sentence is not guaranteed. The problem is that programming, and the ability to earn time off of a prison sentence was cut by New York State back in 1994. Notably, New York State also restricts access to merit time based on their conviction type. Well, what does merit mean? It means to be worthy of and to deserve praise or reward. Yet thousands of hardworking incarcerated loved ones remain incarcerated as they are seemingly deemed not worthy. Yet research has shown that earned time opportunities helps to prepare incarcerated people for reintegration. It reduces recidivism rates and correctional costs. The incarcerated have dreams of freedom. The problem is the incarcerated need access to programming and to receive a guaranteed reduction of their sentence for successful completion. The answer is the passage of the Earned Time Act. That being said, New York State needs to join Alabama, Nebraska, and Oklahoma by allowing the incarcerated the opportunity to earn more time off of their sentence. And ask yourself, who do you want to be part of your communities? After all, most are coming home. I want the formerly incarcerated to be better, not bitter. The Earned Time Act can support that by preventing the unnecessary and lengthy separation of families. For example, if the Earned Time Act was already New York State law, many incarcerated loved ones would already be home today as contributing members to their households, communities, and our state. Most of New York's incarcerated individuals have loving family members that are ready to receive them home. So the Earned Time Act is a solution to New York State's incarceration crisis. And as we say, crisis is an opportunity for change. The change we need is for the Earned Time Act to be New York State law. And if our governor supports transformation over incarceration, our loved ones will return home better, not bitter. Thank you.
Okay, so I just want to acknowledge Joe Driscoll. He's here. He's representing the city of Syracuse. And Natasha Hernandez. Nadicia, sorry. Nadicia Hernandez. She's representing Senator May. And I just had to make those announcements. Next on our list is Assembly Member Pamela Hunter.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon now. I'd like to thank Mary Nelson for graciously hosting us in her beautiful center today. And thank you to the Communities Not Cages Coalition, the families and loved ones of incarcerated New Yorkers, our formerly incarcerated leaders, labor partners, corrections professionals, members of the judiciary, and my fellow lawmakers. Your presence and your courage are why we are here today. We gather at a time when our state is facing a very real humanitarian crisis inside our correctional facilities. Over the past year, my office has heard from parents who are worried for their children's safety and families who feel powerless as they wait for answers. And I know about those phone calls because I received one from one of my family members about an extended family member who was beaten unconscious at Mercy Correctional Facility. Their voices stay with me, and they remind me and remind all of us of the urgent need for a system rooted in dignity and accountability. We also honor the life of Robert Brooks, whose father I met, who came to the Capitol, and his story, very compelling, heartbreaking situation with the murder of his son, whose death should never have occurred. His loss underscores why we must pursue thoughtful, responsible reforms. I am proud to be a co-sponsor of the Second Look Act, the Earned Time Act, and the Marvin Mayfield Act These measures reflect what families, advocates, and experts have said for years. Our laws must better support rehabilitation, transparency, and safer outcomes for everyone. These bills offer real solutions that recognize people can grow. You heard those stories here today. That judges deserve complete information, and that communities are safer when individuals have the tools to rebuild their lives. But legislation alone is not what creates change. People do. You do. Families, advocates, and those working and bettering themselves inside our facilities continue to lead the way, and I am grateful for their strength and perseverance. As lawmakers, we have a responsibility to confront injustice wherever we find it. Let us honor Robert Brooks through meaningful action and by committing ourselves to a justice system grounded in fairness, humanity, and real accountability. I'm proud to stand with all of you here today doing this work. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, so our next speaker is going to be Mary Nelson, the director of the Mary Nelson Community Center.
I just want to thank all of you for wanting to be in my center. You know, this is really an honor to see everyone here. Billy is my executive director. Sonia Amy, my administrative assistant. I got a lot of volunteers. Laura Blackshear and Miss Kathy Denham. Manal, thank you guys for holding the center down when I can't be here. I work Tuesday to Friday upstate and 10-hour shifts. Mondays I'm off. I'm at the center all day. Sorry for all the stuff. I have no room. We're getting ready for the Christmas thing for the babies, December 20th. So thank you guys for, I had to tell my son, I'm sorry to turn the heat down. Too many of us in here right now. But I want to talk about something that it hit home with me. My brother was murdered in 2014, Christmas Eve. But I remember before all that happened, he was falsely accused of murder. When I think about Mr. Brooks, I think about that could have been my brother doing 25 to life. If this young man didn't come up and confess to the murder, he'd be doing time right now. You know, he probably never came home. But to see all you guys are here, and you know, it means a lot to me. So many people are in jail for crime they did not commit. So we have to come together as a community and just be one and just try to uplift one another. I got my nephew here, my niece husband. He was formerly incarcerated, but he's here. He worked for Snugs. They're doing that preventive work to keep our kids from being incarcerated, keep from being in jail. And I met Mrs. White at thank you, and your husband. And I didn't even know that he was gonna be here today. But just to think about you guys are in here means a lot to me. I asked my boss this morning, I said, listen here, I said, they having stuff at my center, I gotta be there. I love her. She said, do what you got to do. So I'm here, and I wanna thank all of you guys. Just thank you. Y'all fighting for something that we all believe in. And it means a lot to all of us. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Okay, so our next speaker is Billy, how do you say your last name? Denham.
Good afternoon. My name is Billy Denham. I'm the director for the Mary Nelson Resource Center. I'm glad and honored to be here. We're very enthusiastic about having this meeting with everyone about something that's very important. And before I get started, I'm going to go from another angle. The 13th Amendment was ratified in 1865, abolished slavery and involuntary servitude in the United States, with the exception of punishment for a crime. So we're talking about mass incarceration. We're talking about perpetual slavery.
Yes.
And people will say, well, you know, that's a little strong, you know, but it's okay. Because I'm not here to satisfy or make people feel comfortable.
That's right.
With uncomfortable lies. We're gonna tell those hard truths. So here, me here, standing, representing this center, and representing this center as a resource, because this center is a resource. And what we do is we've become an advocate to our community for any circumstance or anything that arises in our community that's confrontational or adversarial to us. And mass incarceration is just that, it's an enemy. So what we want to do is we want to change the condition. We want to change the thought process. And you must start by your elected officials.
That's right.
You can't do this, you know, all of this, what we're doing right here, this is good.
Yeah.
But remember, y'all vote people in office.
That's right.
Remember that, right? You vote people in office, right? So when you vote them in office, you should maybe have a meeting with them. You should maybe lobby with them and sit down and tell them exactly what you need them to do. Because guess what? The people are the power. But it seems to me that the people done relinquished the power back to the government. And our Constitution wasn't designed for that.
Right.
It wasn't designed for that. It's for the people, by the people. And today, this is the people speaking. And the people are discussing a situation that we need to really deal with. We have 3 acts that they talked about today. These acts need to be enforced. They need to be pushed. They need to be taken to every avenue, every creek, every pitfall, every nook, cranny that we can find and get into and make this situation arise. Because you know what? We are the solution. We all know the problem, right?
Yes.
We all know the problem, and we're consistently being bombarded by the problem all the time without adequate solutions. So I see this and these different acts as adequate solutions. So we are to get behind those acts. Because guess what? It may meet you at your front door someday. It may be your nephew or niece. It may be at your front door. Well, you know, it's not really, no, well, guess what? Things change in the blink of an eye. Something can happen. You're not with your children all the time. You don't know if your child is what you think they are. Oh, he's an angel, but when he's outside, he could be a beast. Or he could be in an environment that's suited to create the beast in him. You got to understand what I'm talking about when we talk about environmental awareness and understanding your surroundings. Because the environment is designed a certain type of way. Poverty is by design. It just don't happen overnight.
Right.
So when you have an impoverished environment, that means that there were certain things that was taking place to make that environment become what it is. And when you have an impoverished environment, you have impoverished minds.
That's right.
This is a way that things begin to happen. And this is a way that if they don't go unchecked, the children will check themselves and things will happen. And we'll be in situations. So what we need to become is eyes for our community, eyes for each other, and understand that we can't win this unless we make our officials do the work and we check them every single step of the way, and we create a report card. And if they got an F, you tell them they got an F. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So our next speaker is going to be Jamia Hunter.
Good afternoon.
Good
afternoon.
My name is Jamia Hunter. I'm here on behalf of my loved one, Isaac Elmore. I'm going to read my speech. My loved one, Isaac Elmore, is serving a 45-year sentence. Isaac cannot physically be a husband, father, brother, son, uncle, nephew, or all-around family man. Only through a phone, as we know, whenever they're working. There are many factors that put these harsh sentences in effect. 2/3 of life sentences are being served by Black or brown people. New York has the 3rd largest population serving life in prison. You are never free to show the world that you have changed. The Second Look Act will give a second chance. I asked Isaac, what would passing this law mean to you? Isaac replied, I would get to physically be with my wife, family, and children. I already lost a parent by being here. Only being able to attend through a screen as a final goodbye. I was denied and unable to attend. I cannot have a repeat of that. A different judge without prejudice would be able to grant reductions that would be life-changing to me. Look at the facts. There's so much more for me and other justice-impacted individuals to accomplish. Studies have shown that it costs an annual average of $70,000 to incarcerate someone. $70K invested to a family instead of an inhumane cage would change many communities. Many children will be reunited with parents and households will need less assistance.
That's right.
We cannot be our mistakes forever. Community, not cages. Humans were never meant to be caged. You cage a human, you cage a mind, body, soul, and potential. Communities, not cages. Black and brown communities who have been most harmed will benefit the most. Let's reach one to teach one and stand for what's right. Communities, not cages. When we help each other, we learn to grow and build for the better. A second look can restore community and a life. Community is not cages. Thank you. Oh, Eddie's innocent. He's my group of convicted.
Okay. And last from Syracuse University. Next we have Jocelyn Ontil.
Yeah, tricky.
Sorry, from Syracuse University. Okay.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jocelyn Montiel, and I'm a law student here at Syracuse University.
Hi, Jocelyn.
Hi. I came to law school because I believed in using legal education to promise justice, and the idea that law can be a tool to protect people, not to harm them. But standing here with you today, I'm reminded that the law itself, the various statutes, regulations, and case books embodied on paper don't automatically serve justice. It takes the influence of those affected by them to add the human element these words often forget. And for far too long, it has been shaped by those furthest from the communities most impacted by it. That's why gatherings like these are so vital, because the fight for justice, humanity, and the law doesn't start in a courtroom or an academic lecture hall. It starts here in our neighborhoods, in our homes, in spaces where people refuse to let their futures and opportunities be dictated by others. Today we're reminded of our loved ones who are missing from this space. Many of the speakers before us talked about their loved ones who were often denied humanity. This includes Robert Brooks. He was a man who mentored others, and yet instead of a second chance, an opportunity to carry out his goals and dreams of helping others like him, today we are reminded of how he is missing from this space. Even as we organize and fight for reform, we also must acknowledge how we were robbed. We were robbed of the opportunity to hear from and learn from people like Robert Brooks and the other loved ones discussed earlier today. We were robbed of their presence, their wisdom, their leadership, and their friendship. People that were murdered in a place that claimed to be about correction and rehabilitation. People who were most impacted by the laws we wish to change today. Stories like Robert Brooks highlight the illusion of justice so present throughout our criminal justice system. Accountability cannot stop with the punishment of a few prison guards. True accountability means dismantling the parts of the system that made these guards believe their actions were justified and changing the laws that allowed this brutality to continue As a law student, I'm taught to analyze statutes and precedents and to study what the law is, what it says, and how judges and attorneys interpret it. But what we rarely talk about in class is who the law leaves out. We rarely ask whose voices were in the room, and more importantly, whose weren't when these laws were written. New York sentencing laws are relics of the 1970s Rockefeller drug laws and the 1994 crime bill. Both are born out of fear, not fairness, and we see the consequences today. Nearly 75% of people in our prisons are Black or brown, and countless are serving excessive mandatory sentences that ignore growth, change, and context. The effects of this are devastating, not just to those who are incarcerated, but for entire communities. We lose those voices, those perspectives, those parents, those children. They are absent from our daily lives, from our homes, and from this space today. They are denied any real opportunity to give back, to repair harm, to rejoin and strengthen the community they may have affected. But the law can change if we demand it to. If we add the human element, these hollow words written by those furthest from our communities, those not in this room right now. That's what these three bills are about: the Second Look Act, the Earned Time Act, and the Marvin Mayfield Act. They aren't radical or unreasonable, they are humane. They reflect how we interpret the law as community members and how we want them to function for our neighbors, our friends, and our family. Together, these bills represent something that is so clearly lacking from our current system. A belief that people can change and that communities, not cages, make us safer and more united. Even writing this speech reminded me that nothing happens alone. My friends and family read drafts, offered feedback, and encouraged me when I doubted my words. Everyone deserves and needs that kind of support. People who show up, hear you, and help you be heard. But our system takes that away. It separates people from their families, their mentors, and circles of care. It isolates them from the very love and connection that make growth actually possible. And this loss cuts both ways. It takes the incarcerated person away from the community that they need, and it takes them from a community that needs them just as much. This movement is our movement. It is not led by lawyers or politicians alone. It's led by the people who have lived the consequences of these laws. People who have come home and dedicated themselves to making sure others can too. As a future lawyer, I may be one of the people speaking today, but the voices that matter most are those who lived this reality and those who trust me with their stories so I can carry them into spaces that they have often been shut out of. My responsibility is to make sure that the law and I within it keep listening. The law should not be locked behind court doors or written only in legal jargon. It should be accessible, understandable, and accountable to the people that it governs. And if the law can't be questioned, if it can't evolve and can't listen to the people, then it no longer belongs to us. When we say communities, not cages, we are naming a truth that safety doesn't come from isolation or punishment. It comes from connection, opportunity, care, and redemption. Looking forward, we must pass the Second Look Act, the Earned Time Act, and the Marvin Mayfield Act. Everyone in this room wants a system that reflects those values. With each year of inaction, more fathers, mothers, sons, daughters, friends die or are dehumanized behind bars. People who have come home, people who could have come home to rebuild our communities. Those people should be here today. The fact that so many, including Robert Brooks, are tragically absent today calls on all of us to do what our system refuses to do. To see the humanity in every person, even the one society tries hardest to forget. So as we stand here in this moment, as lawmakers, advocates, neighbors, students, living, breathing people who should matter to the law, let's remember that the law is not set in stone. It's written by human hands, and if it was once written to exclude, it can be rewritten to include. Thank you.
And today we have an additional speaker from Snug. Do you want to come on up? Sean Brown.
How you guys doing?
Hi.
First and foremost, let's please give a round of applause for Auntie Mary.
Yeah.
Even having us, to allow me to even be in the position to speak like this, I just want to give you that. First and foremost, let me introduce myself. My name is LaShawn Brown. I'm an outreach worker for SNUG, which we call Credible Messengers. But before I got to that, I did 21 years incarcerated in the penitentiary. I don't even like saying that, but it's a part of my story. And I didn't do a regular 21-year sentence. I did a hard bit. When I say hard, it was because, the system is bound for you to fail. But through all that, I was sitting in my cell one day, I was in a box. And I said to myself, you gotta figure this out. You can't not come back into the community that you destroyed, destroying it again. So once I came home with a different mindset, because you gotta get your mind right. When you do all this time, you gotta get your mind right. You gotta get you right to help anybody else. So now I work to reduce gun violence by mediating conflict, working with the highest risk individuals that's known for shooting someone or being shot. So basically I'm working with these kids in the town that's doing all of this nonsense. But my job is to stop them from going to jail. For the ones that's in there, we're gonna fight for them. We're gonna do everything we can but I'm gonna also do every can I can do out here to stop them from going to jail. So these kids that I work with, high-risk individuals. So to me, a high-risk individual is crazy just to hear the name a high-risk individual. What makes this kid a high-risk individual? Because he's known for shooting someone or being shot. That's deeper to me. It gets deeper than that. Let's go into the household. Let's go into these things to figure out why this kid is acting the way he's acting. And 9 times out of 10, these kids don't want to go home. There's something going on at home where they don't want to go home. So they spending their time in the streets. Let me give y'all a quick story before I sit down. We went to Hillbrook probably about a month ago. So it's the first time I ever had a participant female. Female's acting out. She's stealing stolen cars. She wanted to kill herself driving down the street. Oh, it was just a bunch of just nonsense. The number one reason why she was in the streets acting like that because she didn't want to go home. It was a lot of nonsense happening at home. So I know people been in a situation where you say to yourself, if I just had one last chance, especially when we're incarcerated, just one last chance. So I'm trying to come up with this program called One Last Chance for high-risk individuals coming home from jail. All the resources that they need to be productive citizens. So, you know, it's a process and work, but I just wanted y'all to know that it's hard out here trying to save these kids from killing each other. I done been shot at, I done been all type of stuff, and I don't get paid it though, but it's my passion though for these kids. So, and not remind you, that's what made me Outreach Worker of the Year in New York State. You know, I just wanted to let y'all know my fight. It's a real big fight on the street that I'm fighting. We're not alone. I work for Department of Justice, so all of us please come together for the ones incarcerated, and let's stop these babies from going to jail. I want to thank y'all. My name is LaShawn Brown. I work for SNUB.
Thank you.
Okay, so our last speaker is going to be Armand Perry.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon.
Okay, I'm here to speak about the Second Look Act. My name is Armand Perry, obviously, and I spent 22 years in New York State Prison on a life sentence with the possibility of parole. New York has the 3rd largest population of people serving life sentences in this country. Nearly 9,000 individuals, many of whom work tirelessly to transform their lives. The Second Look Act is deeply significant to people like me because it offers something that our current system often withholds. Worthy consideration for those who have done the hard work of change. It recognizes that redemption is real and that people are more than the worst thing they have ever done. They talking to me. During my incarceration, I committed myself to growth, to becoming someone capable of giving back. I've earned a college degree while studying under professors at Cornell University and Cayuga Community College. I became a certified alternative to violence project facilitator, contributing over 1,000 hours of volunteer work and earned more than 32 certificates. I've learned multiple trades, maintained a spotless institutional record, and lived each day with the deep sense of remorse for the harm that I caused. But despite this undeniable transformation, I faced the repeated parole board denials, influenced partly by illegal attempts to effectively re-sentence me to life without the possibility of parole. It took the intervention of a Supreme Court judge for my appealable grievance to be acknowledged. My story is not unique. No, it's not. There are countless others, first-time felony offenders, elders, people who have served decades, still trapped by the parole system that too often overlooks rehabilitation and clings to punishment. Until major reform occurs, including addressing the irrational parole decisions people have truly paid their debt will continuously be denied real chances at freedom. The Second Look Act would allow individuals who have served at least 10 years, that would be me, to be considered anew, free from the systemic obstacles that so often stand in the way of parole. There are many still behind bars who look like me, who are simply trying to return to their families and contribute positively to their communities. They deserve a fair, evidence-based second look. I ask you, please, support the Second Look Act. It is a step towards justice, towards redemption, and towards recognizing the humanity of those who have worked tirelessly for change. I wholeheartedly support the Community Not Cages movement with passion, because it's my life, it's my struggle, it's my truth, it's my overcoming, it's my rallying call for everything that represents goodness when you come back into society. That's who I am. Armand Perry.
Thank you.